I don't want this video, sorry, it cut out. I don't want this video to be very, very depressing. I just want to talk about my experience and share my story, because I remember before it happened, I looked up videos. It keeps cutting out and I don't know why. I looked up videos about it happening, and that kind of helped me a little bit because I kind of knew what to expect, but at the same time I didn't, obviously. And I just wanted to make this video to maybe help other people who may be going through or have gone through the same thing as I did, or something similar. I'm aware I don't look the best. I'm not wearing any makeup currently because I just wiped it all off. My hair's a mess, I'm in my pyjamas, but it's not really a video I felt like I would ever be ready for. I don't think you ever are ready to an extent, but I felt like it was the right time to talk about it, so that's what I'm going to be doing. This video, if you have read the title, which most people do before clicking on a video, this video is about my mum passing away. She passed away on the 25th of May 2017, which was 5 months ago, something like that. I was 16 by a month. She got diagnosed in January / I think it was January, but I didn't get told until February because I went away on a ski trip with school in February 2015, and when I came back, I think they said that they knew before I went away, but they didn't want to spoil my holiday. So when I came back, I came through the door of my grandma's house into the living room, and my grandma said that they had some bad news about my mum because she'd been in the hospital previously and was had fluid in her stomach, and her stomach looked like when she was pregnant with me. For about a year before that, she'd been complaining of pain in her abdomen, but she went to the doctors multiple times, and the doctor said, "Don't worry about it, it'll be fine." She'd been for scans, but she was claustrophobic, so she went into an MRI scanner, but she couldn't go through with it because obviously it's a small space. So she eventually went to this special one in Leeds where you can sit up in it, and so you didn't have to be enclosed in a small space. She had that done and they couldn't see one of her ovaries, but they said that it would be fine. That was in 2014. So when I came back from my ski trip in February 2015, my grandma told me that my mum had cancer, and it was ovarian cancer. She'd had polycystic ovaries and didn't think that she would ever be able to have children, but I came along in 2001, so so she'd always had problems with her ovaries. I'm sorry, I can't speak. She'd always had problems with her ovaries previously, but didn't really think much of it besides the fact that I was a little miracle. She started chemotherapy shortly after that. When she first got diagnosed, she was around, I'm going to take a wild guess, 18 stone. I'll put a picture in here so you can obviously see. But by the time she'd finished chemo and just before she died, she must have been about 10, 11 stone. And I mean, I'm 9 stone 13, so she wasn't much heavier than I was. I'll insert a picture here of that too. I'm obviously not going to insert pictures that are too personal to me because I still want to keep some things personally, private, which obviously is understandable. So she started chemotherapy shortly after that, and the chemo she was on wasn't working. So they switched her to a different type which didn't suit her at all. She was throwing up all the time, very, very bad acid reflux and horrible things like that. It was awful to watch. She always remained positive and she was the funniest person ever, and I loved her to bits. She always knew exactly what to say and exactly when to say it. She wasn't very good with handling emotions, but she always knew how to make others feel better, even if she wasn't feeling the best. She was literally the strongest person I've ever met in my entire life, and she was a role model for me. Growing up, I only had her, and our family is quite close, so I had the rest of my family, but close family, there was only her and me. Because as I said before, she didn't think she could have children in the first place, and I was her first child, and I have been, and am still, and always will be, her only child. She brought me up on her own, well, with the help of family, but I didn't have a father. My dad didn't bother to get involved with my life until I went to my granddad on my dad's side's 80th birthday, and he saw me and said hello, and then that was it. The next time after that I saw him was in June at the funeral, and he hugged me and said, "Come here, cock, don't be," and then on the way out he said to me, "Don't be a stranger." And I was a bit like you're saying this to me now? You've had 16 years to get involved with my life, and now, when my mum's dead, you suddenly want to be around me? Although he hasn't been in touch with me since. Anyway, besides that rant, my mum was the strongest person I'd ever known, and probably will ever know in my entire life. Her passing wasn't just sad, it was kind of a relief. That sounds very, very bad. But the reason it was not as bad as I think it would have been, if she would have died suddenly and we didn't know she had cancer until afterwards, it would have been worse. Not saying that it wasn't bad, because it was horrendous. Watching her go through all that pain for so long was just awful. She was only supposed to live for around 6 months, but she ended up fighting and ended up living for 2 years, which I think is amazing. She was very, very strong. I'm gonna insert a video that I didn't think I would ever show anybody into this video, because that video shows the extent of how this affected me, and the long sleepless nights and the pain. It doesn't explain all of it, and it never ever will, but it's kind of a little insight. This is an upsetting video, and it was taken, I think, in June or July, because I'd found a video of my mum that I took at Christmas on my GoPro, which is what I film on now. If you wouldn't like to watch the video, then just skip forward and do whatever, but you don't see any suffering. She'd already passed by this time. So yeah, I'll insert the video now. Hi, this is just a video because I've just found a video on my GoPro, well, two, in a photo of my mum at Christmas, and it just made me really upset, because I was at Trafford today with Beth, and she was buying stuff for her mum to help her feel better when she was in Lush, and I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to buy something for my mum and make her feel better, and I couldn't, because she obviously isn't here. And you won't, like, I am a strong person, I'm gonna just be completely honest. I don't really let things get to me a lot, but this is just a whole new level. It's just unbelievable. It's only just, it happened in May and it's only just starting to set in. Like, I don't know, it's hard. And now I'm in, what is it? It's July the 20th. I just want her back, man. I just wanted to come back. And I know she can't, and it's heartbreaking because when I watch videos like that, it's like, she's still here, she's still in that room over there where we always slept. But she's not, is she? Oh, God. Dylan says she'll always be with me in spirit, but it isn't the same, because I can't hear her or see her. Oh, God. What is this hell? It only comes at... It doesn't only come at night, this bullshit. God, it's awful. But I gotta go, because Dylan's ringing me. I'll document next time I feel sad. See you later. When people say the death of a loved one is painful, I didn't completely understand that statement. I'd never been through the death of anybody in my family before who I was ever close enough to for it to be not upsetting, but have a long-lasting effect on my existence. Excuse me for itching my nose. When she passed, it was 12:30 at night, and my grandma was at the hospital when it happened. She stayed with her until the end, which must have been awful, and props to her for being so strong to be able to do such a thing. I refused to go to the hospital to see her because I knew that if I went to the hospital to see her, then I probably would have tried to shake her awake, which wouldn't have happened, but that's what I knew I would have tried to do. She was absolutely skin and bones. She didn't look like a person. I'm not going to show you a photo of her because that's something private that I'd like to keep. She didn't respond to anything I said. She responded to hugs and things like that. She couldn't move, but she just kind of groaned. And I remember the last day I saw her, she always used to have this thing that she said before I left the hospital, which was, keep safe and protected all 5 of you and the houses. 5 of us being me, my grandma, my granddad, my dog Belle, and my rabbit Isaac. And houses meaning my grandma's house and our house. And I just remember that I said, I love you, to her, and her face kind of moved, and she kind of let out a little but she couldn't say it back. But I knew what she meant, because I said to her, you don't have to say it back, I know what you mean. And I remember a couple of days before that, I was lying on her chest. You weren't allowed to lie on the beds with the people, but I think since they knew what was going to happen that they didn't really mind. I was told it was a Thursday when she passed, but I was told on the Friday before that, so like a week, about 6 days before, my grandma rang me at school and she said to me, the nurses don't think that Mum is gonna last over the weekend. Even then she was a fighter, considering that she lasted another 6 days. But I remember maybe Monday that I was lying on her chest and I was listening to her heartbeat, and every time it maybe stopped for a second or didn't go with the correct pattern, I would panic instantly. I would start crying, and I remember a week before that she looked not healthy, she didn't look fine, but she looked alive. She looked like she could have beaten it if she wanted to, and then she did more than anything. I remember distinctly that she just was still funny, even though she was in so much pain. She couldn't eat anything. She couldn't drink anything. It was just an awful experience to have to go through. And when I explain to someone, when I say it was painful, I don't really think that's how to explain it, but I don't know how to explain it. It's like something's been there for your entire life and you've never known life without it. She was that one thing that I'd never been without. She was the one thing that had always been there, even though no one else had, and I know that if I went home, then she'd be the thing I went home to. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. It's like a piece of me when I remember after I got the phone call, it was 12:30 at night, so it was in the middle of my GCSEs. I was getting ready to sleep. I was in my bed and my granddad was halfway down the stairs when the phone rang. And he said, "Oh no," in like I had never heard him make a noise like that before. He just went, "Oh," and kind of quickly walked into my room and just said, "Caitlin," and passed me the phone, and I already knew what had happened. I went onto the phone to my grandma, and grandma just said, "Mum's gone." She was crying, obviously, and I just didn't know what to do. I just said, "Okay," because I didn't know what else to say. My heart kind of stopped, and I was shaking, and I didn't know what to do. If you have any questions or anything you want to ask me, or if you're going through something similar, leave a comment, message me, literally anything. I will leave my Instagram down below, and you can DM me if you need something. I will answer any questions that you've got, and I'm sorry this video hasn't really been like all of the rest of my videos. All of the others are like goofy and fun, but this one I felt needed to be done because I remember that when I needed a video I went looking for one, and there wasn't really anything that I could find that would have helped me, like anything that related to me. It was just people saying how their parents had died. This has been a very emotional video. I just want you to know that you're stronger than you think you are, and you will always, always, always have them in your heart and in your mind, and they will always be there. And even if you can't see them, they'll show themselves in other little ways.